Hey everyone, it's Monique and welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel where I share with you my journey with health, wealth, family, and faith. So how are y'all wealthy, successful, beautiful people doing out there? And yes, I'm talking to you. Yeah, you right there. I'm talking to you. You are successful. You are wealthy. You are doing great. And you know why I'm saying all these things? It's because I'm speaking all of this over your life. You will get everything in this life that you ever want. I'm believing it even if you don't. I see you with those excellent credit scores. I see you living in your dream house. I see you with 7 figures in your bank account. How about that? Can you see it? If you receive this right now, go ahead on and drop it down in the comments and say, I receive it, Monique. I receive it. All right, guys. So I got tons of questions after I post my first video on my credit journey where I went from a 573 to a 752. Then I got even more questions when I post my dispute process where I got my score up even higher to 781. So I could not answer every single person individually. I swear I wish I could, but I just could not. So what I decided to do was take the most commonly asked questions and I'm going to address them today in this video. Does that work for you guys? I hope so, because I'm trying my hardest to get to you guys and to help you as much as I can. So I got to put this disclaimer out there just to let you know. I am in no way, shape, or form a credit repair specialist. I'm not a financial anything. I am a person who is self-taught and who have gone on a self-credit repair journey. And I'm just sharing that journey with you in hopes that you can also be successful on yours. Does that work? So before I even get into the questions, I just want to give you a quick update on something with my credit scores. So when I first applied for my mortgage loan, they pulled my FICO scores and my middle score, which is the score that they use to determine if you can get the loan or not, was a 680, I believe. I think it was a 680, not quite sure. I just got an email from my loan officer and it reads, let me read it for you. Let me pull it up right here. I'm looking down at my computer if y'all wondering why I'm looking down. It says, "Hi, Monique. Hey, your new credit looks great. The middle score jumped up to a 757. And again, these are my FICO scores. So my middle number. So let me kind of explain what the middle number means before I even go any further. So when you get your loan, when you apply for a loan, they pull your credit scores. They get your scores from all 3 credit bureaus and they take the middle number of those 3 scores. So let's say if you had a 700, a 690, and a 680. Of those 3 scores, the 690 would fall in the middle because that's your middle one. They'll put it in order, highest, middle, lowest. So my middle score was a 757. I was so excited. And again, these are FICO scores. These are the scores that you want. And I was happy because once you get above that 740, you could get a really good package on your loan when you get in your house. I was like, oh my God, mama, I made it. I felt like I was about to give a speech at the Oscars. I'm like, you know what? First, giving honor to God, who's the head of my life. I was happy because that was such good news for me. Now let's get you there. You on your way. You are about to get these scores and I believe it. Do you believe it? Let me know in the comments if you believe you go get it. So while we're on the subject of scores, let's look at the first question. And it reads from one of my lovely friends, why is my Credit Karma scores different from the scores used by the bank? Well, I'm glad you asked. When it comes to Credit Karma scores, they are using a scoring model called Vantage. It's a Vantage scoring model. And that is different from what banks use. Banks' scoring model or lenders' scoring model, most lenders' scoring model is the FICO. I'm sure you've heard of your FICO scores. I just mentioned my FICO score. So banks and lenders, they use FICO scores. Now, they use the same information from your credit report, but They just arrive at their numbers differently. That's kind of like, let's say you and your friend, y'all going to a restaurant and y'all gonna rate the food there. You have a list of things that you like in food. He has a list of things they like in food. So when you rate it, you may give different numbers. Why? Because you might be looking for the texture of it, and they may be more so looking for the taste of it. So it's different things that y'all kind of zone in and look at, and that's how y'all arrive at what you're going to score it at. Kind of like the same with the Vantage and with the FICO scores. They look at things differently, they weigh things differently, and that's why your scores are different. Now, most of the time, the Credit Karma scores are higher than what your FICO scores are. There's been some people that have said that their FICO scores were actually lower than Credit Karma. My experience, they were higher. At that time when I had that credit score pulled, my Credit Karma score was like a 696. And when they pulled the FICO score, it was a 680, 676, something. I can't remember. Maybe it was like a 660 or something like that. I can't even remember the number. That shows the difference between the two scores. And it's just a different way that they come at it. They just grade things differently. They look at things differently. So that's why your scores are different. Now you want to make sure you know your FICO scores, because those are the scores that really matter. So you can get your FICO scores from, I use mine when I went to Experian.com, and then I purchased my FICO scores because I really wanted to see kind of where I was at. And when my lender pulled my score, it wasn't but a few points off. So that one was more accurate than the Vantage score. So you want to make sure you get that one. So I got quite a few questions about the dispute process. Now let me let you know before I even get into the question and answer to that one. My dispute process was done online. I made an account with all 3 credit bureaus, and I put this in a previous video. I kind of showed in detail my process for how I disputed online. But I made an account with all 3 credit bureaus, and then I, put my reason in, and I disputed everything online. Now, after I done this, I learned that it's best to dispute by letter. That's what a lot of people suggest. They said it's more than likely to come off or be deleted if you dispute by letter. I have no personal experience with this, but what I'm going to do, my husband has one tiny little bitty collection on his credit report compared to the 6 or 7 that I had. I know, but hey, I'm glad for him because it's only one. I was out there messing up. I was young. I was crazy. I was getting into all kinds of things. Life happens. We do crazy stuff. But now I have 0. So that's a good thing. But anyway, he has one collection. So I'm going to try what everyone's been suggesting for him. I'm going to dispute his one collection by letter, and then I'm going to share that with you in another video. I'm going to go through the process. I'm going to go exactly what I wrote in the letter. I'm going to let you know the results, all that good stuff. So be looking for that one in the future. Now, for one of the questions that I received from my other friend, it was, what do you do if you dispute late payments and they aren't removed? That's a very good question. I did not have experience with this because when I did dispute my late payments, they were removed. However, I went to our other best friend, Google, and I got a little information. I told you Google is the best friend in the world. They give you a lot of stuff, some stuff scary, some stuff you shouldn't listen to, but they also have some good things on there too. So I did a little research and I found some answers for us that you can try out. So what I found was that if they aren't removed, you can do what's called a goodwill adjustment letter and have it sent to that creditor. And what this goodwill adjustment letter is basically you explaining your situation, pretty much why you were late, and then you're asking them to remove this from your credit report to pretty much forgive that late payment. And this works a lot if you've had a good relationship with the creditor. If you were not late a lot of times, like you have a few late payments, those things can kind of work in your favor. Another thing I did see, and I wasn't going to mention, but I'll mention it, is that you can kind of see if you agree to sign up for auto pay, if they'll go ahead on and delete or remove that late payment. That's another one I saw. I don't know if these things work, like I said, because I don't have experience with it. But in what I found on the internet, a lot of people have had success with these things. So if you do go ahead on and try these things, make sure you come back and you let me know how it went for you. Or if you have had success with these things or haven't, whatever the case may be, just let me know in the comments how this went for you so we can all help each other out. Now, another friend of ours asked us a question about the dispute process, and it is, what if you ask the company for a pay for delete letter and they say no? What do you do? Well, for myself, I didn't have any experience with this. When I requested a pay for delete letter, I got it. Now, I requested it, but they told me that I would have to get the letter after I made the payment. I did speak to more than one person about this, and they said that it would have to come, that's company policy, all that. So I just decided to go ahead on and make the payment, and I did receive the letters after. That was my process. That's my experience with it. Now, I do still suggest that you get your letter up front if you can. That's the best thing, but that's if you can. Some people will be like, no, but you know, hey, it worked out for me. But to answer the question, what I would do, I don't know if this is correct or not, but what I would personally do is I would call another person, because sometimes you get a different answer from another agent. So I would call and speak to someone else and see if they will be more willing to do it. Because like I said in a previous video, some people are willing to go above and beyond for you. Some people will just be like, you know, I'm just doing what I got to do and that's it. But just call, speak to them again, kind of explain your situation to them and see if they're willing to work with you. If not, the next thing I would do is I would go ahead on and pay, because at this point I'm trying to get it to benefit me because I want this to come off quickly. So I would pay, not saying that's the right thing to do, but I would pay. And then if they don't hold up their end of the bargain, I would dispute it. Plain and simple. I would dispute it. I would write a very detailed letter to all 3 credit bureaus explaining that we had this agreement and they said they're going to remove this once I made the payment, and they didn't. Now, you know, if it's not in black and white, it can't hold up in a court of law. However, I mean, you know, that's the best thing I could think of in this situation. If anyone have any suggestions out there about what our friends should do in this case, let us know in the comments so that we can know what's the best thing to do. Now, for the next question, I did get this question quite a lot. So I say, you know what, let me go ahead on and address this one. And it is, how do I remove inquiries from my credit report? Now, I did not have to remove any inquiries from my credit report because, first of all, I wasn't even inquiring to get nothing because I know how jacked up my credit was. So I was at a point where I was like, I'm not even about to go out there and play with these people and even make them pull up my credit report, because I know I knew I wasn't going to get it. I'm not saying that was you, but I'm saying as far as me, I was like, I'm not even messing with it. So what I did was just did a little research, and I found that you can basically dispute those inquiries. And honestly, I've heard a lot of success from this. I've had even friends to try this, and I've heard that they've had these inquiries removed. They pretty much wrote a letter to the credit bureaus, each of the credit bureaus. I told you, anytime you dispute, you need to dispute across the board. And they wrote a letter to them, pretty much telling them that these inquiries were unverifiable. So again, I don't know how well that works, but that's what they did. Also, if you feel like something is wrong, you don't have any recollection of you even inquiring for whatever that line of credit was or whatever the inquiry is for, then you can dispute that because you feel like it's wrong. Also, if it's old, you can dispute it because of that reason. If you feel like it's inaccurate, all those good things. So you just write your letter, send it to the credit bureaus, and then hopefully they'll remove it. That's always our end goal, to have it removed. So hopefully they will. Now, if you've had success with this, again, I always ask, if you've had success with this, leave it in the comments below. Let us know. If you have not had success with it, leave it in the comments. Just tell us what your journey was. If you had any experience with this, if you have any knowledge on this, let us know, okay? Because we all trying to get these homes and everything together in 2020. It's ours, all right? And another thing I do want to say about that is, in my research, I found that someone said you should not be disputing more than 10 inquiries at a time, because of the fact that if you send this letter to the credit bureaus with more than that, then they'll feel like this is a frivolous letter, and then they will just pretty much discard it, is what I read. Don't know, I haven't experienced that, but let's just try and see. So let me know how it works out. So for the sake of time, because I don't want to take up all your time, I'm going to answer one more question. And our friend asks, I paid off my collection, but I didn't ask for it to be deleted. Is it too late? My answer is no. It's never too late. What do you do then at this point? What I would do is dispute. It pretty much sounds like that's the theme of this video, to dispute. I would dispute it with the credit bureaus. I would write a letter and I would ask them to have this removed. How exactly to go about that one, not 100% sure. When I did a little research, someone said that you can always call the collection agency and ask them to remove it. Don't know if that one works better than you just disputing with the credit bureaus and asking them to remove it. So if you've had any experience with this, let us know in the comments. Let us know how that worked out for you. And if you do any of these things, then let me know. Keep me updated and let me know how your success is with these things. And when you get all these good scores and when you walk into that beautiful house that you want, come back and share with me. Tell me, Monique, girl, I made it. I made it. And I'm going to celebrate with you, because that's a huge accomplishment. And I am rooting for you. We are in this together on these journeys to bettering ourselves in all aspects of life. So that's all I have for you guys today, and I hope that I answered your questions. I tried my best to answer to the best of my ability, and my abilities are a little limited because I'm not an expert in this field. However, I did research. I tried to find some answers for you, and hopefully some more of our friends will let us know in the comments what we should do. I'm sharing my experience about what I did and then what I researched and found out, and many people said these things work for them, so hopefully it'll work for you too. So thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, see you later.